this computer. Okay. So for Amethyst or anyone else that's watching this replay, I'm talking about this 5-day sneak peek of Tom's that I found that I made some changes to. Yes, ma'am?
Do you see recording? Because I don't.
Yes, up in the upper left-hand corner.
Okay, it's not on mine, and maybe it's because of how I joined it tonight. I just wanted to make sure before you explained everything that it was actually recording. Okay.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, but I didn't want you to repeat everything. So.
Yeah, well, it better be recording because it says it is up here, so I hope so.
Okay, yeah,
I hope so.
On mine.
Yeah, just for those of you that are watching this, Shelly's being a little cautious because Zoom's been a little glitchy today. So I had trouble logging on. She had trouble logging on. So, and then I was frozen for a while. And anyway, so I'm talking about this 5-day sneak peek into coaching that Tom did in 2015 that I played around and cleaned up. It would make an excellent tool for us to use, especially for people that do not want to come to a coach opportunity webinar. And it actually might, well, now that I think about it, it might be something that people would want to do in addition to a coach opportunity webinar, even if they went, because it goes over some of the topics that people, are major questions that people typically have in a little more depth than you have time to cover in a coach opportunity webinar. So they might actually work together well in tandem. So anyway, I'll share a link to that particular group because Tom did several back in the day when I first became a coach, and they're still out there on Facebook. So unless I share the link, you'd end up with the wrong one probably. Because I did that the other day. I'm like, where is it? Where did it go? And then I found it again. Anyway, so
and that's a good idea. Not to
get
you off, but like when we do the coach opportunity, be like, and for some answers to some frequently asked questions, come over here, and then it gets into like, if you put it that way, then it's not like, what are your questions here? And it's your question and a bunch of other ones. These are frequently asked questions all together in one neat little package.
Right. So. Yeah. And for those of you who do click on the link and go over to that group, you're probably going to say things like, well, there's already people in this group, and there's comments from like several years ago. Isn't that a bad thing? I personally don't think so. I think that it makes the group look alive, and we can always explain to people that, this sneak peek's been around for a long time. It's very useful. The information's still relevant. Plus they get to see comments that people made, whenever they, were in that group actively. So it's better. I think it's better than making it look like a ghost town. So anyway.
Well, I was just going to say that I think that speaks volumes for the company that this group was created how long ago, yet these are still the answers. This is still relevant.
Yeah.
We are consistent in what we're doing. It's not, well, we did this, but now we're going to do this, but now we're going to do this. It's no, we've done this because this works, and it's been this long and it still works.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So, so anyway, like I said, I'll share that. And if you guys, anybody, what I'm thinking about doing is, I'm sure everybody's heard, the term evergreen webinars. You make a webinar and you use it forever. Once it's recorded, after it's recorded live, you use it, you can use it forever. So, I'm thinking about setting up some event, so we don't have to constantly reinvent the wheel, setting up some event pages for like a join my team. And Shelly knows, I don't know if the rest of you knows, but I just recently changed my team name. I'm going to do something funky here and show you my second screen. That's backwards. But I just changed my team name to Team Ageless Avengers, and I've been writing my team documents, my core values, what Team Ageless Avengers is, values, what we believe. Oh, crap.
I was going to say, where'd you go? You're still big.
Ah, I don't know if I can get myself back. I should have known better than do that. Let's see.
Come back, cow. There you are. Yay. Oh, where'd you go?
Am I back?
You were back and then you disappeared again. Now it's all black and then my little square.
Oh, gosh. I don't know what's wrong with my camera.
Nope, now it's your still pick.
And now it's black.
Now it's a black screen and me, yeah.
Oh, this camera. I don't know why it does that. Probably it's the computer and the camera in tandem. So
It's like bad juju Zoom call day.
So the
now
only
it's your
way
still pick.
Yeah. So the only way to get me back probably would be to get out of here and boot back up, and that just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense since we're on a roll. So I guess we'll look at my still pick.
There you are.
There I am from like 3 years ago or something. Anyway, good grief. I should know better by now than to do that. Okay. Well, anyway, so I'm thinking about setting up some evergreen events. You do have to go back in, every 10 days before 2 weeks elapses and move the date out further because Facebook still only allows you to set up an event for 2 weeks. Which is stupid. But long story short, I'm thinking about setting up some evergreen events for, join Team Ageless Avengers, or, you could do join Team Nacho. It's so funny on Instagram, I've tagged Team Nacho a couple of times. So when I start doing hashtag and I put team in, Team Nacho always comes up first.
Oh, well, make sure you're doing Team Nacho Fitness.
Okay.
Because somebody else had Team Nacho, so
Did they really?
added the, yeah.
Wow.
There's like a bunch of Team Nacho stuff, so that's why I added the fitness. So, but I'm like, I didn't see what you tagged, so now I know.
Oh, okay.
But that's awesome.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, anyway, so I'm thinking about setting up some evergreen events on Facebook. One for, join Team Ageless Avengers. Another one would be, and we had, what was it? I think it was on the National Wake Up Call, this last one. Did you watch it, Shelley?
I only heard about 10 minutes of it yesterday.
Okay.
I didn't get to listen to the whole thing yet.
Well, I can't remember her name, but she was like the second person that brought this up in recent weeks. How it's really important. We think of calling things sneak peeks or challenge groups. We just think that it comes naturally to us. But they both made the point that this is calling something a challenge group or calling something a sneak peek. People don't always know what that means. So she, her suggestion is that you come up with a name for events that with jargon that people can, readily understand, like they'll know immediately what it is. So I haven't come up with a name yet, but the whole idea would be to have an evergreen event for, a coach opportunity or a 5-day coach opportunity webinar or a 5-day sneak peek into coaching, and then just going in periodically, every 10 to 12 days or something, and then just push the date out further. So you're not constantly reinventing the wheel. I know that, on event pages, you can click duplicate this event, but why duplicate it when you can just go in and edit it? You can just, yeah. I mean, why have all these different event pages out there when you can just update the one that you're already using? You can change the banner photo if you want. You can change the description if you want. You can do all this stuff. So, so that's what I'm thinking about doing.
Just with the jargon thing, I don't remember who it was, but they were calling it a glimpse group. And I kind of like that, like, you get a glimpse into, like using that word.
Yeah, I like that.
I think it's pretty universal. Like, I can see why people wouldn't know what a challenge group is, or, like that. But sneak peek's kind of like, everybody knows what a sneak peek is,
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
But I do like the group.
Yeah, I didn't totally agree with the sneak peek one, but I could understand what she was saying about challenge groups and
yeah, because like, what does that mean? What do you challenge group? That sounds actually kind of like, ew. But we're also used to saying it, but it's like, yay, because we know what it actually is.
Yeah.
But you don't,
Yeah. So I completely agree with that one. People don't know what challenge groups are. So, and a challenge group could be for anything.
Yeah, like sometimes I'll say it's a support and accountability group because that kind of, it's an awesome group for people to cheer each other on, like, and just try and do more of the description.
Yeah, exactly. So, I told, I don't know what else you'd like to go over, Shelley, but I told Amethyst that I would go over, and you may have learned some new things about Instagram and since we were on here last. But I told her that I would go over some of the things that we talked about a couple weeks ago about Instagram, because I didn't record that one. Now I wish I had. But anyway, I think a couple of weeks ago I talked about how I was watching some new people on YouTube who had made some pretty cool videos about using Instagram and some tips and tricks and things. One of them was,
you talked about Hales World, HAYLS World.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Yeah, I have a note.
Yay! Yeah, she's actually pretty cool. I think she's from South Africa, but
that's what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, her videos are really they're informative. They're easy to understand, and she demonstrates everything, which is really cool. She just doesn't.
Because sometimes you don't follow.
Yeah, I mean, she actually, showed her, she actually showed what she was doing on her phone, which was extremely helpful. But she talked about an app called Preview. I'm trying to remember what the Preview app was about, but I'll have to check that out. She also talked about how you can go to Canva. She demonstrated how you can go to Canva and put a colored ring around your profile picture on Instagram, which helps it to pop and stand out more.
Okay.
She talked about a really cool thing that you can do with music. Now, I think everybody knows in Instagram stories, there's an option to add music, like a music clip to your Instagram story. But you can also go to Spotify, for example, if you have a Spotify account, and you can pick a song, you can share it to your Instagram story, and if someone clicks on that, and I want to relate that to something else I learned just recently on my own. If you click on the picture of the album or whatever, the song that gets shared to Instagram, it actually takes them back to Spotify, so that it puts a deep link in there so that it'll take them, if they click on it, it will take them back to Spotify so they can actually hear the entire song, which is something you can't do with the clips of the music that is in Instagram stories.
Okay.
The other thing I learned, and you may already know this, is that if you click let's say you're scrolling through your Instagram feed and you see, I'll just use a recent example. I saw a Shaun T post I really liked. So I clicked, I was going to send, I can't remember who I was going to send it to. Maybe it was Lisa. But anyway, I clicked on the little, that little arrow to share it. And when you click on the arrow to share it, the one that looks like a little paper airplane, it gives you the option now to share it to your Instagram stories. And when you share it to your Instagram stories, it does the same thing that Spotify does. It puts a deep link into that picture of Shaun T or Tony Horton or, whatever. And if people click on that picture that you're sharing, it takes them back to the original post so they can see the original, they can watch the video. Maybe it was a video, maybe there was a really cool longer post, associated with it. But anyway, it'll take them back to the original post so they can get the full benefit of that post. When we share it to Instagram stories, it only gives you the image, and that you can decorate with gifts and whatever. But it puts that deep link in there as well, which is really cool. And I discovered that by accident the other day. Hale also talked about when we set up on our profile pages, when we set up those highlights below our profile, like I've got, what do I have? I've got I've got one says real food, one says fitness, one says cooking, another one says, I don't know, I've got a bunch of them. She says you can go to this page called iconfinder.com, and they have icons you have to pay for, but you know how some people have all those really cool, consistent looking icons, or they look professionally made? You can make those on Canva, right. But you can also go to Icon Finder and find ones that are your personal style, ones that fit your personality. And they have quite a few that are free, and you can just download them and then add them to your highlight icons to make your profile look a little bit more professional. Because otherwise, it just takes like whatever is the first highlight you share, it just makes a little icon of that part of that image. She also talked about an app called Story Split. So if you have a longer video that you've made and you want to turn it into Instagram stories, if you put it in the Story Split app, it's going to break it up into 15-second increments that you can then share to Instagram without having to go through a video editing app. And I think that's what a lot, I've been noticing recently that like Melanie Mitro and Shailene Johnson in their Instagram stories are doing, they must be using that app or one similar to it, because, they'll be talking, and their conversation will be split into like 10 different Instagram stories that all, splice, all follow one after another. So that seems like it would be a really handy app to use for Instagram stories. The other thing I figured out for myself, and I don't know, I haven't done any research into how Instagram favors, photos that you take on Instagram and turn into stories as opposed to ones you share from different sources in the algorithm. But like, I have a Samsung Galaxy phone, I have an Android. All my photos automatically get saved to my gallery app, my photo gallery app. I can now, when I click share a photo in my gallery app, it gives me Instagram stories as an option.
That's cool.
Right. So now why this is really cool for me personally, you may have different reasons, but why this is really cool is that it takes a lot of stress out of the Instagram stories process. So, on a day like when I'm super busy, I could take, 30 minutes, take a bunch of pictures I want to turn into Instagram stories, but I don't have to actually do the work right then. When I have 5 minutes later on, I can take one of those photos, share it to Instagram, decorate it however I want, add my hashtags and share it. I don't have to take the picture in Instagram and do something with it immediately, which is, until these changes were made, is what you really had to do, right?
Right. Now, to be fair, I have not gotten the latest update on my iPhone. But while you've been talking, I've been hitting the little paper airplane. I'm on your stories because I figured to try it, I'll steal one of yours. So the little arrow in there, right?
Yeah.
Down there, paper airplane. When
Yeah.
I click on it, no, I don't want to report you. It has people to send it to, but it doesn't give me stories.
Okay, well, go to my regular feed. I don't think it does it in stories yet, but go to my regular feed, like my profile page.
Okay, I thought you meant it took it from store. Okay.
Well,
so we have.
If you go to my yeah, so
and post to your story.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, cool.
Right. So if you
awesome.
if you go through my feed and you wanted to share something that I posted, you can hit share to your Instagram stories. You can click share, hit Instagram stories. It'll post in your Instagram stories, and you can say, "See what my Coach Mama friend Kelly's doing, or we're doing together," and I can do the same. So it's actually cool, and it's actually cool now that you brought that up. It's actually kind of a cool thing because, we could, we can cross promote. It's a great way to cross promote if we want to do that.
Absolutely, that's what I was thinking. Like how we started letting each other know there was a story up, so we could all, and then that kind of faded out.
Right.
But to do that, like, all right, well, we'll do this. I need to get back into posting on Instagram because that's kind of. But I like that idea.
I'm addicted to Instagram stories. I absolutely adore doing them. And on the days when what's that?
That I can tell by how many were on there.
Yeah, well, when they say do 10 to 15 a day, I'm like, I'm in there. I can't show it to you because my camera doesn't work right now. But I've actually made a list. It's kind of a memory jogger for Instagram. So just checking the time. Okay, yeah, we got 15 minutes left. Okay, so I have this list. It's my memory jogger because this is what happens. I go to work and it's like it sucks all of the creativity out of me. So I have this memory jogger list. So that I take to work with me. So I know what I still need to post when I'm on a break or whatever. So, the first thing I do in the morning is I do my Piney Flats morning, sky photo. Then I do my making coffee story. And then I'm doing my Dr. Zeus, would you drink it water post. This morning is, would you drink it on a balcony? Would you drink?
I like that.
Yeah. So I'm like, would you, like one other day I did, would you drink it with a three-tailed fox? I got my son's tails stuffed animal out, so I'm, would you drink it by a wall? Yeah, from Sonic. Would you drink it, would you drink it by a wall? Would you drink it with a book? Would you, and then I'm either doing, I'm doing my workout videos, or I'm doing a post. Well, this is new. I haven't started this, but I'm doing a rest day restlessness post of some kind because I've gotten to the point now, especially since we started lifting, if I don't exercise on my rest days, I'm like, I'm all out of sorts. I'm like, there's something wrong. Oh my God, I didn't exercise today. That's got to be it, but I'm fine on the days that I exercise. So I'm going to do a rest day restlessness post of some kind on the days that I don't exercise. And how I've already done posts about how I don't like rest days. I don't like rest days. Then if my cat cooperates, I do, what?
I'm singing I don't like Mondays, I'm singing I don't like
Wednesdays. Yeah. Tell me why I don't like rest days. Yeah. And then if my cat cooperates, I do Tella for King of the Cats. I do my food. I do, day in the life stuff. I do my shake. I've started doing a scripture or devotional post. And then the two types of posts that I've been bad at are, every day inviting to something, inviting to a challenge group, inviting to a sneak peek into coaching, inviting, whatever. And the other one is join my team. I have done join my team the last couple of days. I have to stay on track with that. But anyway, the whole point is that I can't show it to you. I'm holding it up like you can see it, but I have my cheat sheet. So when life or work is happening and I if somebody had a gun pointed in my head, I couldn't think of an Instagram stories post to do. If my life depended on it, I have my list. So anyway.
No, that's smart. That's a good idea.
Let's see. Hale also talked about using the special characters on the keyboard on your phone in your Instagram posts. There's your exclamation mark and your question marks, and then there's a second keyboard that has like a ace of spades and a diamond and a square and a heart and all that stuff. Those can actually be added to your Instagram stories and used as frames or creative in other ways. They're really teeny tiny when you get them when you click to add them to your story, but you can spread them out with your fingers. She talked about making sure you use location tags. She wasn't a huge fan of, because in Instagram stories you can do that. You can do your location, and I think we talked a couple weeks ago about how Instagram frowns on you using a location tag on an Instagram story for somewhere that you're not actually physically located, and they know that somehow.
Which is, yeah, they changed that because I said that's new because they used to let you get away with it, but now they don't.
Right. And so, yes.
I was going to say, while you're talking about Instagram stuff, I'm going to go powder my nose and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hey, to be mindful. Water first. Be right back.
Water first, yes. Okay. She also talked about something called the AZ Screen Recorder app for Instagram stories. The AZ Screen Recorder app allows you to take screen grabs. It looks really odd now on this recording. I'm frozen and with a profile picture, and Shelly's chair is empty. Okay. Okay, let's see what else I got here about Instagram. Okay, a couple other helpful apps for Instagram to help get to clean up your followers and to find quality followers are Cleaner for Instagram and Follow Adder. I just recently purchased a 6-month subscription to Follow Adder, and I haven't figured it out yet, so I'll report more on that later. But Cleaner for Instagram is awesome because it helps you find ghost followers. It helps you find people who followed you, so you followed them back and then they unfollowed you. And it helps you clean up your followers in other ways as well, so I would look into that. What else? I think that is, going through my notes here, that's pretty much what I talked about a couple of weeks ago. Oh, I know, there was one more thing. It was about hashtags. Okay, so the last thing I talked about a couple weeks ago had to do with hashtags, and making sure that you research hashtags in Instagram. And when you only have several hundred followers, maybe even up to 1,000 or 2,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, you want to use less competitive hashtags. So what you want to do is you want to go to Instagram and you want to go to the search bar and you want to type in a hashtag, and then it will show related hashtags to that hashtag. And if you go through that list, you can pick out ones that maybe are only in the hundreds or in maybe the low, maybe like 1,000. It's okay to pick out maybe a couple, 2 or 3 or 4 that maybe are, a little bit, maybe are 2 or 3 or maybe 4,000. But you want to use those sparingly because you're not going to show up, at the top of the list for those because you don't have enough followers. But as your followers grow, you can start using more competitive hashtags. The other thing Hale talked about is, in addition to using less competitive hashtags, make sure you're not using the same hashtags all the time, which I thought was, she says that, and this was, I make sure that when I search videos on YouTube that I'm pulling up the most recent ones. So if I'm looking for Instagram, tutorials, I search for Instagram 2018, and I make sure I watch ones that were, that are up to date as opposed to, from a year ago or a couple of years ago, because we know social media is changing all the time, that they're constantly tweaking and making changes. And it's hard to keep up unless you're watching the most current information. But the whole point is, and I'm going to have to look into this because, Brock Johnson's training is all about how he helps people find the best hashtags for their brand. And then he recommends that you use the exact same hashtags all the time. And the conventional wisdom, unless I'm wrong, which I could be, but it seems to be what everybody's saying these days, is don't use the same hashtags on your profile posts in particular, which you should be doing at least one a day. On your Instagram stories, I don't know if it's as big a deal because you can only use 10. But anyway, I try to mix those up as well. I try not to use the same ones. So I can't show you those either because the camera's off, but I have like 4 pages of hashtags that I've researched, and every time I do a post, I try to mix them up and not use the same ones from day to day. So, that's basically everything I shared a couple of weeks ago. Have you learned anything new recently, Shell?
Not since what you went over. Like when I do the Instagram post in my Instagram timeline, I always have Shelly Shifts, which I started over a year ago when I did Shift Shop, and Team Nacho Fitness, just because I want to be searchable. And then I'll mix up the other ones. But it's kind of like I don't want to not use my brands. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of like, well, that's why I have it. So part of me listening is thinking maybe I should start a Team Nacho Instagram, and then I can do at Team Nacho instead of, you know what I mean? Like maybe that would make it
Yeah, that I don't know, but I agree with you. I mean, every post I do, I at least put Coach Kelly D, and I'm starting to put, Team Ageless Avenger. So the two I'm always using are Coach Kelly D and Team Ageless Avenger, and then the rest get changed up because you want them to be searchable. If you want to be able to go to the search bar and put in Coach or Team Nacho Fitness and see all of your posts.
Right. That's why I'm like, well, I don't want to mix that up because I want to make sure that everything I'm doing is under that umbrella, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I use, mom of teenagers or because, and that's an odd kind of category because if you try to search mom of teenagers, you get Teen Mom, that MTV show, and it's like that's not what I'm saying. It's like I want to connect with other moms who aren't potty training. Like those years were wonderful. They're behind me now. I'm looking for my group.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to word things so that you find the people in the same situation and like trying to get creative with it. So
Yeah. Well, I know what you're saying, and it's one of the things you learn through researching Instagram hashtags is that um, there are so many different ways to say the same thing.
Absolutely.
And so many different ways that people are thinking about the same topics, and that can be helpful and it can be a hindrance. But in the end of the day, it really comes down to you just got to. It's a lot of experimentation. That the next thing that I'm going to do is start looking for. I watched let's see, how much time do we have left? Oh, wait, just a couple minutes. I watched a.
Okay, don't have the countdown either.
What's that?
I said I don't have the countdown. I feel lost tonight in this
I
new
know.
Zoom. Like I'm just stuck in the corner. It's not the two of us together. It's so weird. Like, come on.
I know. I totally agree. So I watched a coach, Beachbody coach, who did a video and about on Instagram, and it was really pretty cool because she was talking about how you have to also besides hashtags, you have to go out there and you have to find profiles of people that aren't exactly like you, but that are very closely aligned with you. So you would kind of be looking for the same kind of tribe that they're looking for. And then she said, what you do is you click on their followers, and you, like Tom used to teach with inviting, you right click and you on the people that you think might that appear, at least on the surface, to be people that might be part of your tribe, and you open up all these tabs across the top of your your search bar, across the top of your screen, your computer screen, and then you open each one up individually and you actually look at their profiles and you either dismiss them or if they look good, you scroll through their feed and you use that 5-3-1 formula where you like 5 of their posts, you comment on 3. What is it? You like 5 of their posts, you comment on 3, and what's 1? Oh, Lord of mercy. But anyway, I'll look it up. I have it in my notes and I'll post it. But use that 5-3-1 formula to start, developing relationships with these people. And leave meaningful comments. So that's the next thing I'm doing is I'm going to start going out on Instagram and finding finding people and what she said, what you want to look for is you want to look for, this is the thing I almost forgot. You want to look for people that have tons of followers, but when you choose followers of theirs to interact with, you only want to choose people that have followers of theirs that have followers only maybe like, they only have like 100 to maybe 300 followers of their own, which I thought was interesting. Because they're less likely to be somebody who's promoting themselves. They're more likely to be just, you know, I don't want to say an average person, but somebody that is on Instagram, not to become an influencer.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So unless you have any closing remarks, Miss Shelley.
I do.
Huh?
I said I do not.
You do not? Okay. Well, that will be that'll be all for this installment of Get the Skinny on Beachbody Coaching. I will process this video. I will post it in the feed. I will also post a link to the 5-day sneak peek into coaching that Tom did a few years back that may be helpful for folks. And when I get the 5-3-1 formula thing nailed down, I'll post that as well.
No, too, because that was Carl's group, right?
What?
That was what Carl was teaching, right?
Well, yeah, he did something like that. Yeah, yeah, maybe that was from his group.
Okay, because it was different from what I thought he said, so that would make sense if it wasn't from his group.
Right. Well, she's one of a couple of coaches that use that in a training video. I can't remember who the other person is, but it really doesn't matter. But it's apparently a strategy that works really well for developing relationships with people on Instagram who are, you know, who are quite possibly, you know, potential tribe members. So, all right, and you need to at some point send me your actual address. I know what town you live in, but you know.
I didn't send you the address. I thought I did.
No, I just know what town you live in.
Okay, well then yes, my address is important, or you're going to be driving around Saturday screaming, Shelley!
I can find the deli because I know what that's called.
Yes, but it's not in my town.
But anyway, no doubt Shelley and I will have many fun and exciting Instagram stories to share from Super Sunday in Philadelphia. Whoop, whoop. And without further ado,
So excited.
I know, I can't wait. So without further ado, we'll bring this to a close, and we'll hope to see the rest of our Get the Skinny on Beachbody Coaching group next week Tuesday. So until then, I'm waving, but you can't see me. Shelley will have to wave for me. All right, bye.
Bye.